a 17-year-old Wisconsin teenager has allegedly murdered his parents. And it's not for the reason that you normally think about, like you're hearing true crime documentaries and them kind of thing. It's for the dumbest shit ever. This guy murdered his parents as a part of a bigger plot to assassinate President Donald Trump. Yeah.
Now to a Wisconsin teenager accused of killing his parents to fund an alleged plot to kill President Trump. ABC's Christian Cordero joins with the latest. Good morning to you.
Hey, Will, good morning. So many questions with this one. According to the warrant, a grandparent and a school resource officer called for a welfare check. It had been about 2 weeks since anyone saw the teen or his parents. This morning, newly unsealed court documents allege this Wisconsin teenager, Nikita Casap, killed his parents as part of a larger plot to assassinate the president and attempt to overthrow the U.S. government. Casap's mother, Tatiana, and stepfather, Donald Mayer, were found shot and killed in their Waukesha home during a welfare check in late February.
The body was appeared to have been deceased for some time, was unable to definitively identify who it was.
Investigators say the 17-year-old Casap killed them to obtain the financial means and autonomy necessary to carry out his plan. Officials add they found material on the suspect's phone related to a neo-Nazi group described by the FBI as a satanic cult. They also say they discovered a 3-page document allegedly written by Casap calling for the start of a revolution to, quote, save the white race. The documents allege Casap paid, at least in part, for a drone and explosives, and that other parties knew of Casap's plan, adding some even offered advice and assistance. Casap was arrested in Kansas after police say he drove through a stop sign in his parents' car. Casap is in custody on a $1 million bond. He has not yet entered a plea, Gio, and is scheduled to be arraigned in May. Gio.
Okay, all right, Christian, thank you so much.
And no, this is not a Black Mirror episode. This is real life. This is reality. This guy actually left behind a manifesto. I think it's a 3-page long manifesto praising Hitler and detailing how he's going to go about offing the president. Nikita Casap, now that's his name, right? He allegedly shot both his parents, both his mom and his stepdad. And the scary thing about that is not the fact that he went about doing what he did initially. When police discovered the house, they realized that this guy was living with the dead bodies of his parents for at least 2 weeks, and the bodies were already decomposing. The authorities say, well, I guess time they reached there, but what they say is he apparently fled. He take around $14,000 in cash from the house, take all the passports that was in the house. You take the family dog because apparently even if you have the heart to kill your parents, you still don't have the heart to kill a dog. You know, a golden retriever is your boy. I mean, I guess we're grateful for that. But he take all these things and he just flee. He just run away. Because I mean, if you're going to be the new ruling dictator of the world, right, taking patterns from Hitler, the number one thing that you want to have is compassion for animals. The police finally catch up to him in Kansas, and the reason they find out, the way that they find out was a co-worker of his mom was actually calling to get a welfare check done on them because she hasn't seen them in a couple of weeks. She hasn't seen the mother coming to work, and she didn't call her and let her know that, hey, you know, I'm not feeling well or something, we're going on a vacation or something like that. She just stopped coming into work, and the co-worker get curious, you know, she got worried and she was like, what's going on with this lady? So apparently she called the police and requested a welfare check, and that is when the police went across to the house and realized that there were 2 decomposing bodies in the house. And to think that this happened in a couple of weeks and this guy was living with the dead bodies and this was just going under the radar, if it wasn't for that woman who made that phone call, that co-worker, this might have still been under the wraps. He might have been able to get past Kansas by now, and Lord knows what would have happened. But here's where shit go from this kind of disturbing to where the hell is really going, into that kind of territory, right? Because this man was having discussions with somebody from Russia, right? An individual from Russia, and he was making plots to, like we were saying, assassinate the president. Lo and behold, he was making contacts, getting into contact with people and acquiring certain things. So you acquired a drone And according to him, he acquired some explosives. He didn't specify what kind, we don't know. He acquired some explosives. And the fact that his manifesto stated what he wanted to do, like he wanted to assassinate the president, and his biggest role model was Hitler. He was trying to become a dictator, and if you're looking to become a dictator, I think it have nobody better than a man who off himself more than 80 years ago because he failed to become a dictator. So all in all, it looked like what he did to his parents was just stage one of his big grand scheme. And with his Russian associate that he's talking to on Telegram and on TikTok, because I mean that is where all big dictatorship meetings is going on, right? TikTok is the #1 social platform if you want to overthrow a government, apparently. I don't know. Don't come for me, that is according to this guy manifesto. The underlying situation in all this, right, and the biggest question out of all this is how a teenager who grew up in the suburbs, how could a 17-year-old become so radicalized in a country like America? What was actually going on in his life that warranted him to think that this was a good idea, that doing this was a good plan? Was this untreated mental illness, or this is just plain stupidity? Because it's hard to decipher between which it is. But most likely it's a cocktail of online extremism, delusions of grandeur, and an obsession with turning life into some sick kind of video game or novel that you create in your mind, thinking that you could be the next Hitler. Because I mean, think about it. This 17-year-old kid who grew up in America, in the suburbs, planning to assassinate the president with a drone and explosives. Where these ideas come from? Is it some deep-seated mental illness that probably lay dormant in the family genetics for how long and nobody didn't know? Or he just radically stupid, disasterly dotish? Because we just had to sit down and think about the fact, right? The clownness, like you had to be the biggest clown in the world to think that offering your parents to fuel your agenda to go and assassinate the president of one of the largest countries in the world is a good idea. I mean, even if they claim mental illness now, I might believe them, because no sane person thinking that this is a good idea. They have no way. I mean, for crying out loud, the drone, the explosives, the letter about Trump, the fact that you're praising Hitler as your role model of both your parents, is like, if that is not mental illness, something definitely wrong with you. Like, you're definitely not supposed to be a part of society. Because this is not some slick James Bond supervillain coming to dominate the world with some grand plan. This is more like Dr. Evil from Austin Powers. You have all opportunity to do the right thing and you're still failing because you're dotish. This is just another case of a teenager with poor impulse control. And I think that access to the internet without proper supervision, like without people checking up on you, especially your parents need to have a more active role in dealing with the things that their children associate with on the online, because you can't stop stupidness or evil thing, if you want to call it that, from being online, right? What you could do is monitor the way that your children using the internet, what they're using it for. From the time he start talking about explosives and drone and radicalizing himself and talking about Hitler is a hero, that should have raised some red flags. And I guess that is where the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. Because if the parents miss it, he must have friends, or he must have classmates, he must have people around him who could see that behavior, that pattern playing out. And I think that we're all responsible to make sure that children especially, they don't fall into these traps. Because we are big people, dotish the same way, and falling into traps, damaging people Tesla as if they're actually doing Elon Musk something. And to close this off, right, this is a very scary situation. Not just because of what he do, but because of what it says about young people discovering the darkest corners of the internet. And we all know how easy it is to follow a chain of videos on YouTube and end up somewhere that you realize you're not supposed to be. And this is why parental guidance is important. Yes, it has shit trending, and yes, you want your children not to be left out, but supervision with something like the internet, sometimes adults need it, because if you look at some of the comment section and the political posts, you'll understand that the internet really is not for everybody. You have to be mentally secure in your own self to be on the internet. But most of all, this should be a reminder to all parents to talk to your kids. You know, be an active part of their life. Let them be able or comfortable enough to come to you with their problems and be able to talk to you. Don't be the parent that your child afraid to talk to or afraid to come to because they know how you're going to react and they don't want to go through that. And again, if you have a teenager, especially a teenage boy, and he start talking about how Hitler is a good man or anti-government to the point that he's talking about I stockpiling drones and bombs, even in a joke, you might want to check up on them, you know? Even if you say it as a joke, stop the joke and be like, hey, you know, it has some things to joke about and some things that when you joke about, we need to stop and talk about seriously and ask yourself, is it a joke or is it some kind of unresolved mental problem that you're having with the situation that you're talking about and trying to turn it into a joke? But anyway, this is just a video to get you up to date on the situation with Nikita and the fact that he allegedly off his parents because he wanted to fund his plan to assassinate the president, together with his contact in Russia that he talks to via Telegram and TikTok, and the fact that he planning to become a dictator, patterning his dictatorship rules after Hitler. Because I mean, that's just what teenagers do nowadays, right? But anyway, that's all for today. If you like this video, be sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the situation. If you think that children need to be a little more supervised when using the internet. My name is Jeremy, and this is Them Fellas Reviews. We'll see you in the next one.